in Spanish, it will be available. So welcome everybody once again to the last training. I know it sounds, oh, the last one. Don't fret. Even though it sounds like it, you still have the availability of our people, our team to help you. If your conference leadership wants to reach out to members of the team, they can do so. So Key, Marilyn, Jean, and many others who I can't see, Sherilyn and Jeff and all of them who are here will be able to do that. So I'm gonna hand it over to Jean and Marilyn, and we're gonna go from there.
Armando, before we continue here, those of you who have your testing on February 6th or after, uh, I have just sent you, or earlier this evening, I've sent you the testing materials, including the Nearpod links for the test in English and Spanish. We don't have French yet, but we are expecting it any time, and we'll send that as soon as possible. But everything else has been sent out to everybody that I have that returned uh, an indication that they're having testing in their conference.
I received it. Yes, thank you.
Marilyn, go ahead, Marilyn. Lead us, please, today.
Okay, I was a little late to the parade. I assume we had prayer already. Is that
yes,
correct?
we did.
Yeah.
Is Dennison on?
Dennison is not here yet. Not yet.
Okay, because we would like him to talk to all of you because they actually ran it yesterday. They ran their area event yesterday, and it'd be really nice to hear how it went. I know that Key got on at the very beginning to see if they got started, and they got started. They logged in at 2. The program started at 2. They had prayer by 2:05. They were on the road. So it'd be interesting to see what lessons they've learned and how it went. Now, it was a small conference. They didn't have a lot of teams, which is a great way to start. So, we can learn from them and make our event even better as we learn from each other. Since he is not available, I'm going to talk about challenging a question. Some people asked about that last time, so I thought I'd give you what we're going to do for division. Unions can do it if they like. Conference can also, in area. I've set it up for division, but I'll be glad to share what I've done with you guys. I'm going to share my screen on my other device. Let's see here. Where'd I go? Oh, it disappeared. Just a minute here. Where'd it go? That's not what I want to share. Here we go. Can you guys see this where it says jot form?
No.
Okay.
It's distorted.
Let me try this again. Sorry. Here we go. Now you see it. Says jot form up here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a free site where you can build the registration for you guys to register with your emails. It's free.
Marilyn, your audio's
Yeah,
having
your audio
problems.
is having some issues, Marilyn.
People using site from so is created a chat.
Marilyn. We are having
what
some,
this is.
Marilyn, we're having some audio issues. So
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can get to a place where the signal is strong, so that we have that. Um,
I says here I have a strong signal.
yeah. Now you
Um,
sound better, so maybe
I
may have been, but um, can you repeat that because there was a lot of incomplete
sure.
sentences. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. They have been working on the cable in my neighborhood, and it's been interesting the last couple of days. And I will have no internet for the next 2 days. They hopefully they didn't take it down already or start to take it down. Anyway, so Jot Forms is what I'll be using for the North American Division challenge questions. You can create your own, or you can use our form. It works pretty straightforward. Um, I'll go here and edit this form so you'll see what's in there. This is the form. It's a drag and drop. I can put in a field, drag it in, have it whatever I want, fill it in. I'm not going to put that in here because I'm already got this form done. But I'm asking for the team designation, the union, the conference, the church, and the club, which may seem redundant because I should only need this, but this is just to verify somebody you've built.
Oh man, it
Yeah.
was
And
great.
you can
It was great
integrate it.
until that moment.
Mm.
Let's see if it
Uh-huh.
comes back. Uh,
Excuse me?
yeah, Marilyn,
Oh,
you broke down at some point, so maybe we'll come back to this jot form.
yeah, we'll come back. We'll come back to this. Let's let Key do the explanation for how you set up as a person running an event. He's going to walk through that, and maybe I'll have better connection later.
Okay. All right. So I'm sharing my screen now, and I'm gonna um, go. Most of the presentation will be on how to run the Nearpod test from a technical perspective. So if you guys want to follow along, I'm gonna put into the chat a sample test in here, and the prerequisite is you have to have a registered um, Nearpod account to run a test. But if you have one, then you can click on this link that I just put into the Zoom chat, and this sample test will be added to your Nearpod account. Okay, that's one.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is it the same one that was in the PDF form that we had in the previous session?
It might be different. I know that one had 20 questions. This is a 30 question test.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So the first part that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys one thing that Dennison had is if you, for any reason you need to modify the test, and not to actually modify the actual questions, but I'll show you one thing about Nearpod that you can do. And this can be communicated. One of the use cases could be maybe you can pass it on to some of your teams. They can create their own sample or practice tests. So you go into the test here, click on edit. Once you click on edit, it will give you all of the questions that are a part of the question set. They're in sets of 3. The part that you would want to edit, one that we did is we found out that it will be a good idea to add the words question number to the actual open-ended question. So if you double click on this slide, what will happen is this slide will open up full screen, and the sample question that I have, it didn't have this before. So it was just like this. But what you can do is add the words question number 1, and I'll tell you why this is a good way, good idea to add this. You add that here, and you can add additional text to this slide. The place where you can edit the timing is here if you need to. And then this is the section where you can add like a visual representation of the question, the PowerPoint slide. Okay. That's a
Question, King.
simple, yes.
Um, I didn't see how you upload that into Nearpod, and that was the problem I had today trying to load it up.
Loading that slide.
Lighting the yeah, loading up the whole packet.
Got it. The loading the whole packet. That is kind of outside of the scope of this. I can go into that maybe real quick. Hold on. I can do that real quick. But there's a lot that we need to do, so maybe it's better to not do that. But basically, what you would do is create a new lesson, and then once you create a new lesson, then what you can do in here is you can load either each individual slide, or you can add a PowerPoint presentation, a slideshow. That's one thing you can do. But that's kind of, we can talk about that offline. Moving on. So on the day of the testing, again, we as the NAD will provide the completed Nearpod slide set of all 90 questions with the timings. All of those will be provided to you completed. All you would need to do is click on that link that we give to you, and click on that link, and you have a Nearpod account. It will be added to your Nearpod account, okay? And then it'll be added like this. On the day of the event, the button that you click to start the testing is this button where it says live participation. When you click on live participation, that day, a unique 5-character code will be generated. This is the code that you will need to give to each scribe or each team that is taking the test for your area or your conference. One person from each team, the scribe, will need to use this link, this code, and log into nearpod.com on their computer. Okay. You instruct each team to go to nearpod.com. They do not need to log in. They do not need to create any user or register. They just go to nearpod.com and copy and paste or type in the unique code that's generated for that day into this section right here where it says join a lesson. On the day of the event, each team will be presented with their screen once they go in, and you should instruct each team to type in their church name, club name, and team name. Maybe something like this. So Mosaic, Fairview,
Or
Flames,
does that
Team A.
automatically pop up once they put the code in?
Yes, once they put the code in and they click on, yeah, I'll show you. Once they put the code in here, and they click on this blue right arrow or the white right arrow and with the blue background, when they click on that, then this will pop up. Okay, and then in order to keep track of the team names, instruct them to enter their church name, club name, and then team name. Just in case, one church has multiple teams, it'll allow you to keep track of which team answered with which answer. They click on join lesson, and this is the screen that they will be presented with. Now, again, this is just a student view or the team view, but what we're focusing on today is this. As the people that are running the testing, what you will start to see is a list of all they call it students, but in our case, it'll be all of the teams will be listed here. What you're looking for is you want to make sure all the teams that have registered for your area or your conference are listed here before you start testing. If you don't see it, that means that they're not logged in. You will start seeing it in real time, all the teams that have registered. And just confirm that, for example, you probably don't want their team name to be a person's name or even the scribe's name, but it should be the team name. Okay. Now, even though it says ... it's okay because that's not what's actually recorded. The whole name is recorded. So let's say in our case, 4 teams have registered for our area and 4 teams are logged in. We're good to go.
Quick question,
Yes.
Key. On that name thing, if somebody logs in and puts the wrong name in, is there a way to edit the student name, or do they need to log out and log back in and change it that way?
I haven't tried editing it because I don't know if you can.
They
You might
need
have to log out and then
They need
log
to
back
log
in.
out. They need to log out and log back in.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that's once they're logged in. Okay. Now, as a person that's running the testing, okay, this is a question that I think it may be relevant to many people here. Which screen are you supposed to share with the people that are just watching? The screen that you should share with the people that are viewing is not this screen. You should not share this screen with the world. This screen should be reserved for the people that are running the test. What I've done in the past, and I think what Dennison did, is either on a different device, or if you have the ability on a different browser, log into the test using a different user. Okay, and I'll show you why this is cool. You log in, and then you log in as, for example, dummy team. Okay. Now this is another team. This is the screen that you should be sharing with your area through your Zoom session, because this screen will, and nobody should be answering any questions on here. This is just to present to the world so that when the test is running, let's say it's parents that are logged into the Zoom or coaches, they can see the testing running in the background while you're reading the questions. But then they're not seeing all of the answers being written here. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm going to kind of...
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I'm kind of didn't get that.
Got it.
As I should,
Okay.
yes.
So the role of that I'm trying to go through here is the role of the group of people that are running the test for the area. So for example, I'm in the Dallas area. When the Dallas area runs our area testing, this is a screen that I see as when I'm running the test. However, if I'm presenting this test and I want to share this to parents and churches and grandparents, whoever wants to watch the testing happen, like in a normal setting, you would have it in a big PowerPoint, and this is what you're mimicking. So instead of showing this, because if you show this, what you'll see later is you'll see as the kids answer the questions, the answers show up on the screen. This is not the screen you want to share with the world. The screen you want to share with the world is a student view. The way to do that is you open up a different browser and then log in as a student. I just put it in as a quote unquote dummy team, but you could put in that as any other team name. And this is the screen that you should be sharing through Zoom or some other medium, so that people that are following along, but not necessarily answering questions, just following along, they can see the questions with this.
Gotcha.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to go through the first slides, and as you guys, for those that have seen this, I apologize, but I'm kind of repeating some of this. You go through the questions here, and then you read the question in English, read the question in Spanish, and then as you run it, I'll go back here. You read the question in English, read the question in Spanish, immediately go to the next slide and click on Start Activity. So that pretty much as soon as a question is read, within 3 seconds, basically the timer starts, because you have a countdown timer and then you have this timer. Okay. Um, okay. And as people start writing, as the teams start writing their answers, you as the person that is running are running the test will start seeing the answers populating. Okay. All right. While you're running the test, one thing that I've seen in the past is now I don't think everybody answered. So this is one concept that um, that we kind of went over. I don't know if you can see my screen. Um, all the teams will have assigned to them I forgot the word, Yvette,
Monitor.
a monitor assigned to them. The monitor will be able to do two things. One, they're going to be able to monitor the team so that they are not, you know, being dishonest. That's one. Two is they will be able to communicate back to the people that are running the testing and let them know that, hey, my team that I'm monitoring is having some technical issues. Please hold. We used a tool called WhatsApp. It's just a communication, like a text messaging platform. This is Telegram. Anything else, you can use something like Telegram or WhatsApp,
No,
or even just like a
solo
text
las
messaging
las
group,
niñas.
whatever tool you guys are comfortable with in communicating in real time with the other monitors and other people that are at different locations to be able to communicate with them quickly. You should use that and implement that beforehand so that after every question, if there is any issue, or maybe in the middle, if there's an issue, then those monitors can communicate back to you and let you know that there's some technical issue going on. Okay.
Isan,
Yes.
there is one more thing that the monitor does is to keep a score that in case there is some
Right.
technical issues, there's a
Right.
backup.
Right. That's right. The other one is you'll see here that Independent SDA Church wrote an answer for all people, and Arbuckle wrote everyone, but these other 5 teams didn't write anything. So then, this is a suggestion. Maybe the people that are deciding should we keep going or is there a technical issue, they need to communicate in real time to all the other people that are running the test and say, hey, Mosaic Fairview Flames, they really didn't write an answer, so that's okay. Or maybe Linwood, Washington, they did, but for some reason it didn't get logged. But then the person that's monitoring Linwood, Washington would be able to communicate back and say, no, I was able to capture that answer offline through a second offline Excel sheet, or something like that. Okay. So
one question that we ran into in testing is a question that came up. If they failed to hit the submit button from their answer, does the answer still come up?
Yes, it does. It does. Good question. Okay. So I'm going to assume, and I'll go over that, sir. I'm going to assume that everybody that was supposed to answer has answered this question number 1, and everything went through okay. All right. Let's see. Now I'm going to go. So then I have confirmation that everybody answered question number 1. I will go to the next slide, which is the answer to question number 1. Once you go to the slide, basically all the teams will know the answer. So the answer for this one was everyone. Okay. I'll move on to question number 2 for 2 points. And I'll read the question in English and read the question in Spanish, and I'll move forward. This scenario that I'm going to run is a scenario where one of the teams, for some reason, did not answer, and they actually didn't answer the question. So then I'll click on Start Activity.
Okay, one more thing.
Yes.
I noticed today, I experienced that once the time is stopped, you cannot submit or write anything else.
That is correct.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
once the time is stopped, the whoever's running this can move to the answer because whoever's testing, they cannot write anything else.
Right. Right. So you can, as a team, you can start typing anything you want, click on submit, and then let's say I type this in and time is up. Whatever I typed last, even if I didn't click on submit, that will be recorded by Nearpod as their final answer. Okay, so Miguel, if you can. So I'm gonna say, let's say Miguel was team, this village church team 1. And Miguel, can you write into this, this Telegram chat? I'm gonna ask Miguel, who's the monitor for village church team 1. Miguel, did your team answer this question? And you'll see in real time, he's gonna write in here that no, they didn't write the answer. So then I know, okay, even though they didn't put an answer in, that was their answer, which is no answer. So then I know that I can move on because even though they didn't write an answer, they're just gonna get 0 points. It was not a technical issue. So I'll go to I'll read the question number 2. Now this scenario, before I go to question 3, okay. Before I go to question 3, Miguel is gonna say something to me in Telegram or again, it doesn't have to be Telegram, but he's gonna tell me something about his team. His team is Independent SDA Church. This is kind of he says, hey, hold on, we got disconnected. So in this scenario, that tells me as the person that's running the slide, hold on and communicate to all the other teams. We're holding for a second because one of the churches or one of the teams is having technical issues, and you have to hold from moving forward to question number 3 until I get confirmation from Miguel that his team is back online. So Miguel, if you can type back into here, we are back. Okay, so then I know that Miguel's team, the Independent SDA Church team, and everybody's back online. So now I can move on to question number 3. Does that make sense? So this is just a scenario that we experience where if there are any technical issues in the middle of testing, it's good to have some sort of a communication tool. I think in our document, we put in a second Zoom session. It could be text messaging, whatever is easiest for your area, whatever tool is easiest to set up. It's great to have that ability to communicate back and forth with the people that are running the testing and the people that are monitoring the teams, so that you'll know that you're confident that you can move on to the next question.
So the person reading the question can't be monitoring all these text messages.
No, that's right. That's right. So we had a second person, that the person that's reading the question, his job was to just read the question. There was kind of a technical person, communicating back
in
and
the
forth
same room or beside
in the same
them or
room
something.
and saying, yeah, hey, person reading the question, go, or you can't go. So you guys have to work out those logistics. But that's otherwise he or she will be totally, very flustered. Yeah. So there's a lot of different roles that go on. There's another person that's monitoring the Zoom session too. Yes. Go ahead.
A question: how is score being recorded into Nearpod?
Got it. Okay, so that's actually going to be the next section. I think so I went through 3 scenarios here. One is just straight through. Everybody answered the question. I see all the answers by all, 10 teams. I see it in Nearpod. We're good to go. You can move immediately. The second one is if at least one of the teams, it says no answer, then you kind of need to hold a little bit and get confirmation from the monitor of the team that didn't answer, and just they need to say, hey, they purposefully didn't enter an answer, or if they did, and it for some reason didn't get logged, which I haven't seen that happen, but it's possible, then that monitor will need to confirm and say, I recorded their answer offline on an Excel sheet. You can move forward. The third scenario is if for any reason during the questioning, a team has technical issues, then the monitor for that team will need to communicate back to home base and let everybody know that, hey, you can't keep moving forward because something is happening with my team. So at that point, all the teams need to hold. The questions cannot be continued until that team is back. Okay, so let's say the testing is over. Now we're done with 100% of the testing. Now we need to go ahead and export all of the scores or the answers that the teams added. As the person that ran the test, if you go to nearpod.com, you'll see your library of tests. The test that you ran will be in here. This is the one that we just did. You click on the 3 dots that show up here. Click on the link export PDF. Oh, sorry, not export PDF. Reports. Click on reports. And then when you click on reports, there'll be multiple reports. This is the one that I'm going to be exporting. Assuming you only did one session, the day of the session, it'll be logged by time and date. This is the one that we just did right now. You click on that, and then this screen pops up with all of the answers. The link that you click on is at the top middle where it says downloads. Okay. From here, I recommend that you download the PDF session view. And I'll tell you why. And you click on that link. When you click on it, this screen will show up and you click on the local drive. That'll download it to your hard drive, your computer. Okay. And it'll be a PDF file. And I'll show you the PDF file from this session. When you open it up, it'll have all of the questions sorted by question number and then grouped together by all the teams, by questions. So for example, and this is why it's good to have that question number at the test here. It says question number 1, and then this is how all of the teams answered question number 1. Question number 2, how all the teams answer question number 2, and so on. Question number 3, if you didn't change that, I think this is one change we're gonna have to add. Ms. Sherilyn and Dennison brought this up. If you don't have this question number here, then it's difficult to know what question number this one was. True. Especially if the papers kind of got, if they printed it out and papers got mixed up. Anyways,
true.
Yeah.
Okay. I will, I'm almost done with conference level, so I'll add that before I send the links out for conference level.
Right.
I can go back and do area level. Would that be helpful?
It's possible. Yeah.
It won't take very long.
Yeah.
I
think that'll be a good
Okay.
thing to have. It's
Jean?
just most complete. Yeah.
Then I'll go ahead and do that.
Jean? I lost
Yes.
him.
No.
If Sherilyn adds that question number, she'll have to send you a new link for you to send out again, because I know you sent a bunch out today. You'd have to send an updated one once she gets that done.
That's no problem.
Okay.
There are teams that are going to be tested this next weekend on the 23rd. And I'm not sure if it'll be helpful to them, but I'm going to send it to them all anyway, from the 23rd on to the last test for the area level.
Okay, then I will get that to you by Tuesday.
Okay.
There's also in the chat a question, Keith. Some people are a little confused on the sharing of the screen. When you talked about logging in as a dummy team, that's sharing a screen for non-team members. Correct. The team members, their scribe would share their screen. Correct. So that the team members can see what the scribe is typing in.
Right.
So in my case, what I would do is I'd have a projector by the screen and by my computer and project it on the wall, and all the kids can see a big screen of what's going on instead of everybody having their own device, because we're going to be in one area, 6 feet apart, but we're going to be in one room. So that way they don't have to share a screen. And if you have multiple people typing, some teams have more than one person is acting as scribe. If this is my question, I type the answer. And if it's your question, you type the answer. So they can have a desk with a computer on it. The person who answers the question is there. Everybody can see it. They can go sit down and somebody else can type an answer. In other words, it doesn't have to be just one person at the computer type an answer. Just like at regular PBE, they'll pass the paper around and somebody else will write if they need to. So the sharing the screen that you showed at the beginning was not for the teams.
No.
Each team has to figure out how they want to share what they are doing with each other.
Right.
But that's the scenario for in person. But if you're virtual, your virtual scribe is your scribe.
Right. And your virtual scribe is your scribe. Then you would share a screen, and then they need to have some way of making sure that, I don't know how to spell Nebuchadnezzar and I'm the scribe. So some of the kids, in the past, they had like a little chat going, and that they would type in the chat and the scribe would copy and paste it into Nearpod. When because sometimes they don't know how to spell the word that they've been given as the answer to type.
Okay.
Well, what if a kid gives an answer? Okay, like one of the answers is Melchizedek. Melchizedek. And we practiced yesterday. The girl said Meldeck. Well, that's not the same thing. And then the scribe said, "You mean Melchizedek." So would that be a point or not?
It's whatever gets typed in Nearpod.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think if there is a mistake in the spelling, but it spells the name, like for instance, in Spanish, Melchizedek is with QU. Okay, in English it's Melchizedek. It sounds different to us, but it will show to the person, to the judges, that he was right. He knew who. Right. Yeah, that's what I see.
And the other thing is that if one team member knows how to spell it, the one who's answering the question is spelling it incorrectly. The team member that knows can always correct and say this is the way it goes.
Right.
As long as the team answer goes incorrect, the team answer goes incorrect.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Let's get back to Keto.
Yeah, let me continue. Yeah. So this is the first step in grading, exporting the PDF. You should export it as a PDF in session view so that the output is grouped by questions. All the teams that answer question 1 are grouped together. All the answers for question 1 are answered together. You'll see here, this is the team name, and this is how they responded. This for us is irrelevant because we're not really scoring inside of Nearpod. Depending on how you guys want to do it, I'll just give you one example. You would print this out and then share this, each sheet, maybe groups of questions to judges, the judges that are going to be grading that group of questions. Okay. And then if you printed it out, then they can, next to this response, oh, this one, this team, I gave them, 1. This one, I gave them 0 and 0, and write it physically on the piece of paper. Maybe you can do it whatever way you want. Once those are graded, then I think we presented another tool where you get those papers back, and then you would have to manually, let's see if I can clear all this, manually enter in all of these scores into this Google Sheet that we've provided and given you instructions on. You would put in the team names and team numbers here, and then it's grouped by question. And then I think we've already given you I don't know if we have, but if we haven't, we will be providing you this sheet specifically for the area level, with the question value of each one, and all you would need to do is type in, the answers, the points that each team got. So this one, they got 1, 1, 0, and just move forward and populate this in.
I have a question.
Yes.
How much time will we have prior to the actual event to complete these forms? I mean, with the name, the basic information, the names of the teams and the names of the participants. Will we have it in advance and enough time to do that?
Yes. If, like I said, if we haven't already provided this to you, we will be providing this sample sheet to you within the next, I'm assuming next week at the latest.
Is it a sample sheet or is the actual sheet we're going to be using?
It would be the actual sheet, and I think
It'll be the
Gene,
actual sheet. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Gene said he'd do it shortly.
And also, can this form be run in Excel?
That's a question for Miguel. I don't know for sure.
Well, if this sheet is in a different application than Excel, then no. But if it is an application that works along with Excel, then yes. The question is these original sheets that you give to each person, they all have to be linked to the same system, correct?
They're all created in Google Sheets. We will give you the template. And then when you click on that link, you can bring this template into your Google account, your Google account, and that will be your version of this sheet.
Okay.
I have a Google account.
So if I put it into my account, I will only be able to see mine. I will not be able to see yours, even though they're based off the same template.
Key, if people save this onto their own computers, they can open this up and it runs seamlessly in Excel.
Okay, good. That's good. Okay. All right. I think that's all I had. Yes, Benjamin, I believe. You had a question? Oh, you're muted.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I have a question versus / suggestion. If we use another Zoom meeting as a monitor, then it's gonna make our systems to be unstable. Maybe maybe it's better to use a system that is not connected to the same Wi-Fi, or WhatsApp that is connected to 4G or 5G. Thank you.
Right. Yes. Reasons why we decided last year to use something like WhatsApp. It requires 2 different Zoom sessions on one computer, but that's up to each area. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Ratom Ponoy.
Okay, thank you so much. My question is the monitor.
Yes.
You said that when someone is reading the question, and when one of the team has a blank, is that the responsibility of the person reading to check each answer, or the monitor notifying them?
I would say the person that's reading the answers, the person that's actually reading, they just have to do a quick check and see if all the teams answered. That's their role. If all teams answered question number 1, they can move forward.
Yeah,
because they don't really care what answered. They just want to make sure that everybody that had an answer was able to log their answer in.
The other question on that, Sherilyn, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're a small area, 10 teams or so, the person reading the question can do other things.
Yeah.
But in a large area, it's be a little difficult. So I would have a technical person off to the side whose job it is to monitor the chat or whatever you have with the WhatsApp with the monitors that are going to check any questions that come in and will signal to the person reading, go.
Right.
And so the person reading doesn't read the next slide or move on until they've been given the signal that all the answers are in, that they're good to go. It seems if you have a lot of teams, it's just be a lot of work for the person reading to be checking to make sure everybody's there, making sure, there seems to be too many balls in the air for our area where we have quite a few teams to do that. So I would suggest you have a person whose job it is to tell the reader to read and to move to the next slide, and they're checking to make sure everything's good to go.
Right.
The other thing about checking those to make sure they've populated is that the timers are not exactly lined up. Your timer as the moderator or the teacher is not identical to the student end timers, which is dependent on their connections.
Right.
And so waiting until all of those populate means that you have waited until all of the timers have dropped to 0.
Right. That's exactly right. So to put it another way, Sherilyn, let's say question number 1 is 30 seconds. All the teams will get their full 30 seconds to answer the question. It's just that my team's 30 seconds may start now, and another team's 30 seconds may start 2 seconds later, 3 seconds later, maybe even 5 seconds later. But everybody will get their full 30 seconds. That's why the person that's advancing the slide will start to see answers populating. And it just depends. But you have to give it a little bit of time for all those answers to populate. And then let's say you've given, 5 seconds, but there's still one team that still shows no answer. At that time, that's when you need to, as a person that's advancing the slide or the technical person that's running the test, ask that team monitor, hey, did they enter an answer or not? And then they will be able to communicate back to you and say, yeah, they did. Why didn't you get it? Or they'll say, no, we didn't. Then you'll know that, hey, even though that team didn't answer, we can move forward because that's the only one that actually didn't answer the question. Okay. Is it Arnie? I think you have a question.
It's more of a, I just want to see the big picture. I don't want to see if it makes sense to you. We're fully virtual here in California.
100% virtual. So yes. All the kids are in their own homes.
Yes.
Okay.
And so the way when I talked to Pastor Elenis, I kind of saw it like a flower or sort of like an octopus where we have a home base. And in the home base, I visualize 2 different parts. One is the announcer who is broadcasting the Zoom to all of the participants and all of the people are watching. And then the second person is the Nearpod person only. Yes. And that's the one who's doing all the scoring and all this thing. Now, this is where I got a little confused for a second, but after you said the WhatsApp and stuff, it would make sense that the monitors would all be on a text or WhatsApp, which you said. But the kids, this is where I was kind of figuring out, because this is what I have to explain to my kids. Yes. I would suggest for my club or whatever, in your case, whoever wants to think about it, I would suggest my kids would all be on their cell phones. They could either be on a shared chat, because you can't have 2 Zooms open up. You can only, I mean, the way it's set up, it's going to cancel each other.
So,
and would that be okay to do?
You can do what you guys think are the best idea, but I'll tell you what we did. It was a similar concept, but it was flipped a little bit. Okay. So the way we did it in that fully virtual scenario, the teams, each individual team, they were logged into their own Zoom session, and they were able to communicate visually and verbally with every team had their own Zoom session. That's one. Now, how are they going to hear the person that's reading the question? That the person that's reading the question is running a Zoom session, but the kids are not. They're only listening to that person reading the question. And one possible way to do that is the person that's monitoring, the adult that's monitoring them, they call into the Zoom line. Okay, they call into the Zoom line that of the person that's reading the question, and they just have it on speakerphone. Okay, so then when they have it on speakerphone, then the monitor's microphone will capture the audio of the person that's reading the question, and then the kids are all in their own Zoom session. Does that make sense? So it's a little twist on what you were saying. So
because I just because for some reason if we're doing that, then the centralized person, they don't really need to be connected, what, as you said, to that
Correct.
central thing.
Correct.
So
That's correct.
that's where the general viewers could connect into.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
If I may interject, this is what has been going through my mind. Each team will be in its own Zoom session, and the monitor will be in the same session that he's going to be monitorizing. At the same time, the monitor will be with his phone in a Zoom session connected to the person reading the questions. And if there is a delay in time, he will tell, his team is ready or there is a problem. And the person administering the test will be able to hear that. Now, the scribe of each team is going to be in a different tab, logged into the test in nearpath.com. And then he will share his screen with his team, but he's the only one that is going to be able to type the questions.
Right.
Am I right?
If you have the problem with that scenario, Pastor Lennis, is the monitor can't have two Zoom sessions open in his name. So either he or she needs a second person running something else.
I'm sorry. What I'm planning to do is that the monitor is the one that is going to set up the Zoom session for the team that he is in. But the person providing the test is going to make up the session for the communication with the monitor.
Okay.
So it's going to be two separate Zoom accounts, and one person that is in a Zoom room is the monitor. He's going to be communicating with the person giving the test.
Yeah, that's where the trouble comes in, is that one monitor in that scenario would have to log into two different Zoom sessions, one with the team and one with administrators of the test. That's a challenge. So that's where I think I know we're running on low on time. One thing I would suggest, and what was it, El Guapo or Dennison suggested this. You have to do a practice run, a dry run, before the actual thing, because really the focus should be, getting out all these technical issues as quick. Once you start doing it in person, some of these things that I'm saying you'll understand it. Oh, okay, that makes sense. And it's relatively easy to solve these problems, but until you actually run it, you're not going to be able to do it. So do one dry run. You have to do it.
Hey, we have it's 9 o'clock, but we're gonna do something right now.
Okay.
Everybody, I know that some of you have questions. I know we have Mr. Rasandi with his hand raised, so we're gonna address that one. But as soon as we're done, we're gonna close out with the prayer, and we're gonna keep recording. But for those of you who need to go and you think you're clear, you may go, and we can continue for a few more minutes. So if you don't mind, let me interject here.
Yes.
I just want to welcome Key. Everybody, please give a hand to Key and the team over there. They're trying to do their best in helping you, and they will be ready to help you. So let us finish with a prayer. If you want to still stay for any other question, we'll stay for a few more minutes. But if you need to go, it's 9 o'clock. We don't want to keep anybody longer, then we won't. So if you don't mind, let me just go ahead and pray. Then we'll go with Mr. Rosandi and then Sister Lavita. Okay. So let us pray at this time. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you, Lord. We're coming to crunch time. We're getting closer to the moment where we will experience the Bible in a different way with our Pathfinders. Help us to be the tools and help us to know and learn how to utilize the tools that are available for us. Lord, for some of us, this is a little too much, but we know that with your help and with the help of the people that you put in our path, that we will be able to make this experience a great one for the Pathfinders. Bless those Pathfinders who are still learning, still memorizing, and learning about your word. Lord, it is amazing what they can learn. And I hope that you bless them in every single way. Thank you for bringing us together. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen. So just a reminder, everybody, this will be posted as soon as possible. If not tonight, it will be posted tomorrow on our YouTube channel. And so, so that you can freely share and have that. So if you need to go, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. And if you want to stay just for a little bit, we're going to have a few more minutes if that's okay. So may the Lord bless you if you need to go.
I'm going to say something real quick here. Key said doing a practice, not a practice. I would schedule 3.
Many, yeah, many practices.
We had an area in Texas practice yesterday. It was crash and burn, okay? But they learned an awful lot. And so their next practice session, I think they'll have it down. But yesterday, there was all kinds of things going on. So it's very important that the kids feel comfortable with technology and your staff feel comfortable with the technology, that you've tried it out. There's many ways to peel this apple, or however you want to say it, but just keep practicing.
All right. We have Mr. Rasandi for the question. Mr. Rasandi, and then Mrs. Levita.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pastor Amanda. My question is, because we were trained last week, kind of dry run, is the scribe is communicating to the person from the conference. He's engaged in one Zoom account to get the audio, and then he's logged into the Neopad for the answer. But at the same time, that person has to communicate with the team. So what we were trying was, we use one Zoom for that scribe, and then he used Google Meet to communicate with the rest, because the rest also need to show from the waist up for the sake of not cheating. But somehow the audio, if you use Zoom and Google Meet, the audio is canceling canceling out. How do you solve that?
So that's a great question, and that was one of the first things we tried last year, but that didn't work. It was crash and burn. So to make it as simple as possible, if you look at it from the team's perspective, the person that has the most technology is going to be the scribe, and they're only going to have 2 things on their screen. One is Zoom, and 2 is nearpod.com. That's it. They don't have to have anything else on. It's Zoom to communicate with their team and their monitor, and 2, nearpod.com. And the scribe for that team is going to be sharing their Nearpod screen. The other 5 team members, the only thing that should be on their screen is Zoom, and that's it. And the only thing they should be looking at is a screen of the scribe, nothing else. They shouldn't be looking at anything else. The third thing is what I was saying earlier. The monitor is logged into their Zoom session so they can monitor the team, but the monitor is going to be calling in, and you could do it different ways, but to make it simple, they can call in to a Zoom call of the person that's reading the questions. That's how I can make it simple. Then you don't have any of those audio issues. You don't have to have people logging into Meet and Zoom and all of that. Very simple. That's how you need to solve that problem. Does that make sense?
So the monitor.
Just a follow-up question on that one.
Yes.
So the audio of the monitor will be the one picked up by the Zoom account and heard by the rest of the team, right?
Right. So then everybody's mic is on for the team, or they can turn it on and off as they answer the question. But it's an exclusive Zoom session just for that team. The monitor, the adult, is going to be they're going to be calling into that main Zoom session, for lack of a better word, to hear the person reading the question. And that monitor's mic is going to be on the whole time so that the kids can hear the person reading the question.
So I'm going to say it a
thank you
different
so much.
way.
Yeah.
And maybe that, because everybody understands it a little differently.
Okay.
The monitor is going to be responsible for two things. A Zoom session where they're monitoring the kids. This is for an all virtual event.
Right.
They can see all the kids in the Zoom session, and they're responsible for the audio that the kids listen to through that Zoom session. And that's done on a different device than where their Zoom session, and they can't have it on the same device. They can't have their phone on two Zooms. So they're going to need like a laptop or an iPad or something. I recommend a laptop and a phone. They're going to dial in to the Zoom session on their phone and put it next to their microphone on their laptop.
Right.
And so that will be the audio the kids hear.
Right.
So the monitor is responsible for the audio for the team.
Right. So put it again another way, the other kids, the team members, none of the team members are calling in or logged in to the main Zoom session. Not at all. Only person is the monitor, and then they're sharing the audio of that main session through their mic so that everybody else can hear it.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense, because this way the scribe as well will be hearing from the monitor, not directly from direct connection to the reader. Thank you so much.
All right, we got Sister Lavita. She's next, and then we have Arnie with her hand up too.
I
Sister Lavita?
don't.
Okay, I have about 3 questions.
Okay.
Quick ones. One, is there a limit to the amount of monitors you can have?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a technical question. Yeah.
Yeah. And 2, the original instructions that were sent out explaining everything that you've been teaching, have there been any updates or changes that you may have, or adjustments you may have made? Have they been sent out, or will you send them out?
I think we'll need to review them and verify that nothing needs to be changed. And that's a good point. And Sherilyn and I will do that. We'll give it a quick review to make sure there's nothing we think should be either accentuated, highlighted, explain more. Now that we hear your questions, maybe we can enhance that document.
Okay. And number 3, any chance of moving the event date back? To give all the teams more time to practice.
They've had since September. No.
Yeah, that is up to you.
Yeah.
That is up to you, because we have I think we have the dates for, those are the suggested dates, but we've already had, I think, about 7 or 8 conferences that have already had theirs, and we have some that are scheduled for as late as the middle of February. So that's strictly up to you.
It just can't be after the union level, I guess.
Well, it can't be.
Just a question, that's all.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pastor
Pastor Armando.
Pastor Elenis, can you hold on? I have Arnie with a question, and then you go next, okay?
Okay, because I don't have to raise my hand.
Yeah, no, you go. So go ahead, Sister Arnie. You're on mute.
You're muted. You're muted.
So this is how I see it. Can you tell me what you think? Now I can't see myself. Can you guys see it?
I see it. I see it. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So I think this is how I perceive it. This is home base with your Nearpod. This is the audio only. This is the monitor. Okay, I can't move my finger properly.
Yeah.
Who sets up the Zoom? This is the scribe who is connected to the Nearpod. And this official, let's say this is Pastor Elenis, is sharing his Zoom to just the viewers. And then here is the text separate thing that's just for the monitors. And the Nearpod guy is just watching for the scoring. I don't know how to move my finger. There you go. Does that make sense?
I think it's very close. Yeah, I think it's very close. I need to take a look at it
I
more
think just
in detail, but it's very close. Yeah.
technology wise,
Could
this is
I suggest maybe you guys have a personal phone call
Yes, we can do that.
and talk this out?
Yep, no problem.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure it kind of makes more sense now in my head. Thanks.
I am tempted to say my mind is made up. And don't confuse me with the facts. Yeah, we're gonna have meetings with the persons from the areas applying the test. When it comes to conference level, I will be the central applying the test to all the teams. We will figure it out. I have been getting up at 2 in the morning to figure this out. But I think we have it done. Now, I have myself had 2 questions about the proceedings. The first one is when we come to the union level and the North American division level, who is going to assign the monitors for the teams? Is the local conference coordinator or the union is going to assign them?
I'm sorry, for which level?
Union and then North American division.
Somebody from your union will need to make the assignment of the monitors.
Okay, so that's a responsibility.
Right, and we will make the assignments for the division.
Okay. Once they
Pastor
come,
Dennis,
Mhm.
for every level, the entity responsible for that testing is responsible for the monitors.
Okay, perfect.
So there's a coordinator for every union that there's going to take care of that. We're trying to work with them so they can be part of this trainings and so they can know what is coming up to them. So they will be able to know this by the time they get to union level. Same with division.
Okay, my second question and last one, and then I'm gonna mute myself, uh, which is hard for me. The spreadsheet or the Google sheet that the NAD is preparing for the final score of the teams. In the guidelines, it shows that the curve is going to be used. Now, is the spreadsheet or the Google sheet already prepared with formulas to do the roundup, to do the curve, and let's say, for instance, that get the median and the standard deviation and all that to help the teams. Let's say that one that has 87%, but compared with the other teams, it lowers the bar, so he will get to 90% and he will make it. Is the spreadsheet prepared to do that? So we will not be subjective.
If I remember correctly, and I'd have to verify that the sheet that is currently up does this, it had both the absolute score and the curved score available to be used, as I recall. So you can see what actually happened, what their actual percentage is and their curved percentage. I believe that is the way it worked when I last used the sheet. I'd have to verify that this sheet is working that way.
Now, Marilyn, if Miguel, who made the Excel spreadsheet, can respond, I mean, he can update it anytime, but Miguel is here, so he can reply to that.
Okay, Miguel, jump in.
Yes, it's updated. You can see the real score and you can see the adjusted score. So it's already included.
Right.
Okay, thank you for the answers.
All right.
If we need to adjust the percentage, which one is it that we need to adjust? The blue box there, or if we need to change
you
the
just
rounding?
enter the on the blue box.
Oh, the blue box. Okay.
Yeah. Is that where
maybe we'll send a document on further instructions on how to adjust this sheet if needed.
Yeah, I'm just saying for the conference and our regionals coming up, you know, like on the spreadsheet we had before, I had one box that I could change that rate.
Right.
That is something, Fred, that you may want to contact Miguel directly. So if you want to get that going, but we will have that spreadsheet open. Now we're 9:17. I think we went a little over, and I thank everybody. There was one hand raised that I don't want to miss, and it was White Memorial. It said White Memorial. So if White Memorial is still with us, do you want to ask your question, or was it answered? I think they already left.
Maybe
It was answered.
it was Arnie. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, I don't want to keep you guys going. I actually need to also go, but thank you so much for being here. If you have any other question, you see Marilyn Boismeyer put her email there. You can reach out to Key, Miguel, Sherilyn, Jean. You know, the team is putting extra effort, and we want to be helpful as much as we can. So, you know, this cannot run without you, and this cannot run without them. So we need to work together. We need to become one team and make it work. So if you have a question, reach out to them. Sister Ramona has the final question.
How soon can we get this recording?
I will hopefully post it in the morning.
Okay.
It will be on YouTube because by the time it gets and all the stuff, you know, but it will be done, edited in the morning and YouTube channel. Okay. All right, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
See the emails. You see the emails over there on the chat. Just, you know, take a look at the team. Reach out to them. You know, thank you so much for everything. I hope that the Lord blesses you. Have a good night, everybody.